Hey everyone, Caffeine Man here, and today I got the newest Red Bull flavor, one of the newest Red Bulls. They have a bunch of Red Bulls out. This might actually be Red Bull week, this week and next week. They got Red Bull Pink, they got the Red Bull Juneberry, sugar-free Juneberry, and they also got the Red Bull Zero Monk Fruit. Picked all those up this weekend, but I got the pink for you. And didn't I review the pink? Oh, that's right. The pink one that I reviewed just recently was actually the UK edition. Apparently it was so popular in the UK, they were kind enough to bring it over to the United States for us. Red Bull the Pink Edition coming right up. Hello again everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And in today's video, we're going over the Pink Edition. That's right, this is the US Pink Edition, not the UK one that I did a couple weeks ago. Theirs was named Forest Fruits, ours is named Wild Berry. Wild Berry, so much better than Forest Fruits, I think. Actually, kind of like Forest Fruits too. You don't get forest in many of your drink names, but that's what Red Bull likes to do. Red Bull likes to name their drinks based on what's going to appeal to their clientele in different areas. So they might have 3 or 4 different names for the same exact drink based on their marketing research of what people are going to like, and they like wild berries. In the US, that's what we're going with. The one from the UK actually was a sugar-free version, and for some reason when I was at Walmart, they had the sugar-free and regular version of a whole bunch of drinks, the strawberry apricot, the Juneberry, and all bunch of other stuff that they had both flavors of. But for this pink one, it must have been so new that they didn't actually have the sugar-free version. So I don't have the sugar-free version for you, but from what I can tell so far, the sugar-free versions haven't really been that much different than the regular versions. So we'll have to go on the assumption that this one is pretty close too. But we do have to talk about the fact that Red Bull has been releasing a lot more drinks recently, and not that they're releasing tons of drinks, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of other companies that release drinks a lot faster than them, but for years now, probably 6 years at least 6 years, because I've been doing my channel for 6 years, they've usually only released 2 a year, the winter edition and the summer edition. Occasionally they'll bring in a spring edition or just toss in another flavor to be like, hey, let's toss in this flavor. But on average, you're only getting about 2 drinks a year from them, and they have actually increased that since the end of last year going into this year, because not only are they releasing their new drinks, they are also releasing sugar-free versions of those drinks. And I can't really think of other companies that do that. They don't release a regular version and sugar-free version of the same exact flavor at the same exact time. But then again, most of your companies, a lot of the supplement companies only do sugar-free, so it would only be the sugar companies. But Monster doesn't do it because they only have a couple of their regular flavors. If they have a sugared flavor, it's usually part of their juice line or rehab or just its own category. If it's sugar-free, it goes into the ultra line. And when Rockstar comes out with drinks, it's similar. So Red Bull is doing this new thing, kind of, new for them and new for the energy drink world, where they're releasing the same exact flavor, sugar edition and sugar-free edition, putting them next to each other on the shelf. I'm curious to see how it's going to go, and some people might say, well, that's good that Red Bull's finally releasing more. Everyone agrees that they're way too expensive, but we push that to the side and say, yes, it is good that Red Bull is doing more, because they do need to be more competitive, and still your hardcore energy drink fans are still going to be buying your stronger, more potent flavors from Ghost, Gorilla Mind, and so many other companies out there that are doing solid job with their flavors. But Red Bull is trying to catch up. They're looking at their market and they're saying, well, what is our market like, and how can we pump up these drinks a little bit? And they are starting to get us some better flavors, and they're giving us sugar-free versions of the flavor. I've been saying this for years since I started my channel, that they don't have many sugar-free options and that they need to have more, because they're gonna be left in the dust by the other company. Not left in the dust, but the other companies are slowly catching up with so many other companies. Look at all, I got the Guinness World Record for over 1,000. It was 1,019 energy drinks. I'm up to over 1,200 cans now. That's how many energy drinks are out there. So many companies moving in on the energy drink game and taking up a lot of shelf space now. Ghost is everywhere. Gorilla Mind is starting to get into stores everywhere. Alani Nu, Prime, all these companies taking away money that Red Bull could be making. Red Bull is finally starting to see the writing on the wall that sugar-free is a thing. And yes, people may love your Red Bull Sugar Edition, and a lot of people like their Monster Sugar Edition, making them the #1 and #2 company in the world. But when you look downhill, and Celsius is the #3 company, and Celsius is a sugar-free company, when they're infringing on your profits and everyone after #3 is mostly sugar-free companies, you best start releasing some sugar-free energy drinks. That's what they're doing. That being said, here I am going on about sugar-free, and I'm not reviewing a sugar-free drink for you. So why don't we get into the wild berry? That they do have sugar-free wild berry. I just didn't have it, and I wanted to get you guys the review right away so that you didn't have to wait another week or two for it, because everyone's talking, oh, have you tried the pink? Have you tried the pink? Have you tried the pink? Yes, but it was the UK edition, US version. Let's taste it out. And here's the can. And of course the can is pink, it is wild berry. This is the 12-ounce can, so it's gonna have 120 milligrams of caffeine with 40 grams of carbohydrates and 38 grams of sugar. My goodness, thank goodness you come in sugar-free edition. Hopefully it's just as good, but let's go ahead, taste out this sugar edition. I typically don't drink the sugar drinks anymore because there's so many sugar-free options out there, but still, Red Bull, gotta do something about those artificial colors. What do we got? Do we have any banned red colors? Oh, that's right, I forgot. Somehow, some way, Red Bull has found a way around having to put what color is in there. So they just have colors listed in there. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know who they're paying off. But you're supposed to tell us if you have red 40 in there, if you're using beta carotene, if you're using something, you're supposed to tell us what the color is. So we don't know what color this is. Hopefully you're not going to kill me. Let's taste it out. Go back in from the can. Carbonation, medium to high carbonation. Sweetness, high. I would say on the low end of high, but I'll tell you why it's on the low end of high in a second there. And for your flavor profile, I'll say it's a high flavor profile. And the reason why I said a low end to high for the sweetness is that I think that raspberry flavor is pulling back a little bit on the sweetness. There's something in there that's pulling back. So it's still a sweet drink, obviously, with the 38 grams of sugar in there. But so you still are getting that sweet berry kind of flavor to it. And I haven't watched any of your reviews yet. And I'm wondering what they say, because it does say wild berry. So I'm not sure if people are going to be saying it's sort of a mixed berry or a blue raz or something like that, but it's definitely not a blue raz. I mean, it's a pink can. If it was blue raz, they'd probably go with something a little bit different. Not necessarily, but most likely. And I was lucky enough to have the forest fruits, which once again, you get raspberries in the forest. You could get blueberries, but this is definitely much more raspberry forward than anything else. I'm not really getting much other flavor out of here. So to call it wild berries is a little odd to me. I think it's a little misleading, because I really think that it is just wild berry or raspberry, because I'm not really getting much else out of there. I mean, maybe there might be like a touch of blackberry in there, so maybe it's a raspberry blackberry, but it is primarily a raspberry flavor. And like I said in my UK video for the pink one, there's not a ton of raspberry energy drinks out there, so it's pretty good. I actually don't think it's too much different than the UK. I think it's probably the same exact formula. So when we go ahead and take a look at the Caffeine Man rating chart, where's this gonna go? Like I said, not a ton of raspberries up there, and I am gonna give this an 8.7. It's getting slightly better than the UK one, and I think that it's because of the sugar, because the sugar-free from Red Bull, the sugar-free always does taste a little bit worse. Not worse, but just a little bit different, just not as good. They're still good flavors, they're just usually not as good, and I've kind of experienced that with most of the sugar-free, but they're really close to each other, except for that coconut berry one. They need to redo that sugar-free coconut berry one. But for the rest of them, I think that they're pretty close. This is getting an 8.7. I am guessing that if I had the sugar-free version, I'd probably give it an 8.6. And I am definitely curious to see how that Juneberry is gonna be, so I'm gonna have that review coming up for you soon, as well as the Red Bull Zero. If you want to see some of my favorite energy drinks, I have a top 10, top 20 playlist right there. I believe that very first video has the most views, but that first one is from like 6 years ago, so be sure to check out the other top 10s and top 20s in there, because this is not just favorites. I also have a worst list in there. I also have a can design list on there. So feel free to open up that playlist, see if there's anything else that might interest you too. And there's another video right there, but I spent way too much time talking about that playlist. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, have yourselves a great day or night.